Yes, thank you very much, Mr. President, and good afternoon, distinguished participants, ladies and gentlemen. It's my pleasure to participate in this water and industrial accident seminar of UNICE and share some experiences with you. Unfortunately, I cannot be present myself in the beautiful and historic city of Budapest, riddled as I currently am between two important expert groups yesterday and tomorrow, and even a meeting this morning. The European Commission envisages, through a series of directives, achieving the good status of all water bodies by end 2027. Unfortunately, we have to take into account that all these efforts can be disrupted by a single incident, and decades of work can be undone in just a few hours. In the Scheldt district, we can unfortunately report such a heavy incident, and I would like to share our experiences in that context. For those who are not familiar with the International Scheldt Commission, we have the governments of 3 member states, France, Belgium, and the Netherlands, and 3 regions, the governments of 3 regions in our commission, the Flemish region, the Walloon region, and the Brussels capital region. And we do the international coordination of the European water directives. We look at the adaptation of climate change and the impact at an international level. And of course, also, we need to make sure that information is exchanged between the members for the management of accidental pollution with cross-border impact. Next, please. The Scheldt district is a small district. The length, say, at its largest, southwest to northeast, is 350 kilometers, but we have the encyclopedia of what I would say all problems you can have with water bodies, and that is because we have a fairly densely population. We have water scarcity in the whole region because of the fact that in that region, and because of the density of the population, we have a lot of water evacuation due to a dense roadwork and a dense industrial and urban structure. We have an old and intensive agriculture. We have old industrial sites of which we discover sometimes heavy pollution, like recently the PFAS pollution. And we are the low country, so we are a high flood risk area. Next, please. We recently introduced a new warning and alert system, and that's a communication system for the notification of calamitous pollution with the cross-border risk between the member states. The connection to our international network is via 6 main warning centers. I'll show you on the map where they are in the next slide. And we have 3 types of notifications: a warning, an information message, and a request for information. We do monthly communication tests to ensure that the system is live and kicking. We do annual exercises, which are a bit more extensive, where the members have to evaluate their readiness to react on pollution. And we have an annual workshop to discuss and evaluate the main calamitous pollutions and to review the functioning of the system. And we do that together with the Meuse district, because we share the same system for calamitous pollution. Next, please. Here on the map, you see, it's maybe a small map, but you see the main contact centers, and you see also the Scheldt and the Meuse district on this map. Yes, next, please. It's a message exchange system. I'm not going to go through all the steps in the exchange, but basically it comes down that when you have an accidental pollution, you need to warn the regions below, so to make sure that they can take the necessary measures in case you cannot contain the pollution yourself as a member state or as a region. You can also give an information message to the other regions, or you can give an information message if you can contain the pollution, just to notify the other regions downstream. Or if you suspect that there is a pollution somewhere upstream, you can ask via request for information, more information about that pollution. Next, please. Yeah, here you see a couple of screenshots of the new system. The old system, the former system, was 12 years old, especially in terms of security. It was no longer up to date, although we never had an issue in the Scheldt district with our members working with the system. But as they upgrade their systems to new security features, we had to follow. And we took that opportunity to add some new novelties to the system. Next, please. Here you see the graphic illustration of the alert system and the warning system. It's essentially based on sending messages and receiving receipts. And when there's an alert, the members also are asked to send out an end of alert message to make sure that everybody is up to date concerning the status of the pollution. Next, please. What are the new features here? Well, we have, in this new system, we developed the system for the messages based on a tab architecture. So each form where you need to put the information to exchange with partners downstream or upstream is now in separate tabs. We have one application for the Meuse and the Scheldt district, which is also very handy because for the region of Northern France, the Département Hauts-de-France, there is one main alert center to take the alerts for both districts. And second, both districts, the Meuse and the Scheldt, are connected by the Albert Canal to each other. So it is well possible that the pollution on the Meuse go downstream towards Antwerp, towards the Scheldt, which is a situation which is relatively rare compared to the other river districts. As I've mentioned, we have an end of notification. We also introduced the full list of municipalities and related water courses, and connected to our WebGIS. WebGIS is our library of cards, so that people can quickly visualize where the area is, where the pollution is currently active. We also have added lists so that people can inform the other parties of the people who are in charge, inclusive their contact numbers. We had only a very generic contact number in the previous version. You can always now see the full tree of all the related messages related to a single pollution. And we made sure that there is a consultation tool for the message archive, so that when you want to see previous pollutions, you can go back easily and figure out whether some of the actions undertaken to remediate the pollution in the past were effective or not. Next, please. Let's now go to a major pollution we had. in April 2020, on the 9th of April 2020 to be exact, there was a dike breach in a sedimentation basis of a sugar factory in northern France, Escaut-d'Œuvre, nearby Valenciennes, and about 100,000 cubic meters of Beatwin's water came into the Scheldt River, which is the equivalent of approximately 3,000 containers. Through the local press and social media, quite quickly, the messages were exchanged regarding massive fish kills, and there was a detection of falling oxygen levels very quickly. So in a few minutes from whatever the level was of the oxygen at that spot to zero. Because the breakdown of the beet pulp by bacteria caused the high oxygen consumption. The French authorities, particularly l'Office français de biodiversité, took action, but in a first message stated that there was no issue for the ecosystem nor the navigation, and that pollution, which is comparable to a pear syrup, was slowly moving towards Belgium, entered Wallonia on the 19th of April and Flanders on the 20th, killing all fish over a length of about 1 kilometer. So that is relatively a third of the river. Next, please. Here you see a picture which I took at the border between Wallonia and Flanders, so in Belgium already. Next, please. Yeah, well, what was done to remedy that pollution? The Flemish authorities undertook immediate action by adding oxygen to the water as of the 21st of April. That was a coordinated effort with different authorities and organizations, and volunteers from all over the country came to the river to help transfer the living fish, the surviving fish, and bring them to healthy waters nearby. They were also deploying aerators. They were purifying in the purification centers the polluted water alongside the river, and were adding extra water and making that the pollution was diluted. And as a result, mass fish kills from Oudenaarde onwards could be avoided. So over the length of another 150 kilometers, the river was secured. Finally, the pollution was then diverted via the canal, the ring canal around the city of Ghent, and the canal Ghent-Terneuzen to be evacuated towards the sea. But by the time it came to the Belgian-Dutch border on the canal Ghent-Terneuzen, the pollution was already fully diluted. Next, please. You see here an installation of an aerator adding oxygen to the water of the Scheldt and then bringing the water back into the Scheldt. Next, please.
Sorry to interrupt. Can you summarize, please, in 2 minutes? Thank you.
Yeah. So here again, another example of adding water to the fish. One of the things, if you can go back to the fish, next, please. Yeah, next. One of the things, yes, stop, please. One of the things we detected was, unfortunately, a shad, which was no longer detected in the Scheldt for more than 100 years. Unfortunately, the shad was dead because of the pollution. But that's a good sign. That means that those fish are coming back to the ecosystem of the Scheldt once it will be restored. Next, please. Yeah, what are the lessons learned? Well, first, It was a bioorganic pollution, and it was the impact of which was heavily underestimated. We were focusing too much on chemical pollution and not on the impact of organic pollution. The detection was not quick because we were just at the beginning of the lockdown and there were very few passers-by. And therefore, and because of the fact that the authorities did not mention that there was an impact on the ecosystem, there was no alert issued by the French authority. It was only later that we got the first messages on the WAS system. Next, please. Also in the local press, it was much later that there were articles about the pollution in the local press. Next, please. The actions undertaking, well, we started already before the pollution. We had reviewed the working procedures. And like I said, the monthly tests were all positive. After the pollution, there was a comité de pilotage headed by the French Préfet Hauts-de-France, where the company who caused the pollution and several experts sat together to identify the causes and determine responsibilities and define remedial actions. We have now 3 projects which are on to restore the ecosystem in northern France. Next, please. Yeah, here you see what they did. They closed the sluice at the city of Ghent to avoid that the pollution came into the city. Yeah, next, please. And there we are. So, like I've mentioned, by the time the pollution came to the Belgian-Dutch border, it was fully diluted, and there was no impact on the marine ecosystem. Here we are. Thank you very much for your attention. If there are questions.